Hello. So I have Jason with us, and he's a local man from Smithers, and he's in Ottawa right now. And so I just want to know why you've chosen to go there and kind of what your history in the Balky Valley is as well. Um,
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, history in the Balky Valley. Our family came there with my wife and kids in 2008. I had worked in aviation maintenance for 20 years, more or less, and I took a job as director of maintenance. Bought Trails North in 2012, the Polaris Honda dealership, and been there for about 10 years now. And the reason my brother-in-law and I decided to come here was we both kind of had the same views. A lot of us did. From the beginning of the pandemic, it just seemed like there was so many things wrong. At first it didn't, but as time went on, there was a lot of things that just weren't adding up. And started researching it more and more. And it got to the point where, after mandate and, the government kind of get cracking down with, it seemed almost became tyrannical. We decided as soon as this trucker movement happened in Ottawa, my brother-in-law called me. We decided we were going to come down. I decided the night before we left, actually, that we were coming. We just had to. It was just too important. So it took us about 6 days to get here. It was 4,500 more or less, a little bit more for him. And once we got here, we were just going to stay a couple of days, but we realized once we got here, a lot of people had the same view. They couldn't leave once they got here. It's just too important. So I don't know if you want me to get into, more of the reason why we came, or if you want to get into what we've seen in our experiences here so far.
Maybe a little bit, whatever you feel called to, actually, because it's just, I definitely want to hear to what you've experienced as well. But I guess, to what you've experienced, I guess, but.
Yeah. So within a day of being here, I don't watch the mainstream news for obvious reasons, why a lot of people don't. I quit watching it a few years ago because the so-called fake news is true as far as I'm concerned. But when I got here, I realized right away, I would go out and film with my phone, take pictures, and we would walk about 10 kilometers a day throughout the streets. And what we were seeing was not anything close to what the mainstream news was portraying. It was ridiculous. Like, we would get back and watch the news every night. And I decided within a day, I'm going to start documenting what we see versus what the mainstream media says. So, I'll call them out right away. CBC, CTV, Global are just horrendous. Like, the first week here, they downplayed the size of it so bad. They would film areas that were supposed to be live footage that weren't live. It would get dark out and they'd still be playing footage with the sun out. And they were trying to downplay it. And that was the whole, their goal was to basically go with what Trudeau was saying as far as it being a fringe minority with unacceptable views. It was actually horrendous every day when we watched the news. That everybody has to know basically what it is it's funded by the government, CBC more so, but it's state-run media, and the only reason they're there is to brainwash people into what the government wants them to believe. It's very plain and simple and obvious once you're here. Mm-hmm. So what we've experienced, some of our local politicians in the Balky Valley, on one side, as well as Trudeau and the NDP leader of the federal party, have all been trying to play the racism card, saying that there's swastikas, Confederate flags, white supremacists, and so on. And not once have I seen, and being here for 2.5 weeks, not once have I or anyone else that I've talked to seen any of that. From what I understand, one person might have brought a swastika in at the very beginning, and he was let out right away. And there was one picture online I saw of one behind some bushes way outside of the main area. There's kids here. There's 85-year-old people here. There's people from all walks of life, mm-hmm. from all over the world, mm-hmm. uniting as one. And I've never seen so many happy, friendly people from all walks of life in my life. Everybody has the same reason. You see, African Americans, you see East Indian people carrying signs around that say, "I'm a white supremacist" with a question mark, things like that. So the politicians and the media are trying to play it up to be something completely different from what it actually is. I've never seen so much diversity here.
Yeah.
We have everybody here, everybody imaginable, and no violence at all. From what we've seen, the reported violence, I think, was counter protesters, as far as I know, because our truck did get egged, and some of the truckers' trucks got egged. So there's obviously people that don't want us here. The news plays it up like the residents of Ottawa are suffering, declared a state of emergency. There is no reason for any of that whatsoever. I have a ton of video footage and pictures to prove it. And they are completely trying to make it out to be something that it's not. The residents of Ottawa, actually quite a few, come down and they're happy that we're here. Not all of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But there was actually 50 local residents that offered their homes up for truckers and their families, so the kids didn't have to sleep in the trucks.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, because that's where we're hearing. I mean, I've got people in my community here on either end, right? And it's a head trip for myself because I'm just like, I'm seeing something very different because I'm reading your blog as well, and I appreciate you so much for the information that you're sharing with so many. And I'm also hearing other people that have been there, and I'm seeing the footage as well. And there's a very different, there's two different streams. And I definitely, before COVID, I was already open to the fake news a little bit more. I definitely not down, I don't listen to any news, but I was more curious about, I'm like, well, why would they, whatever. I was more curious about some of that stuff. Right. And so I really appreciate that you're there. And just can, as a witness, I can see behind you. So where are you at right now?
Actually at the War Memorial.
Oh, wow.
There's a bunch in Ottawa here, right? We're kind of just down a couple of blocks from the center of stage, like the center of the whole movement. And they have a stage down right at Parliament Hill where they have lots of speakers speaking, doctors, lawyers, all kinds of different people speak. We've learned a lot from them. This here is a war memorial, so there's some veterans hanging out there, and they're totally sided with the movement. I came down here just to get out of the main area because it's really noisy down at the center of the whole event. Yeah.
How many people, just so I know you haven't counted everybody, but how many people do you think are actually there every day, kind of having a presence?
It's really hard to say. During the week, it dies off a bit. Obviously, people are still working. We thousands each day. It's really hard to put a number on it. Yeah. And then definitely, during the weekends, hundreds of thousands. It's really hard to put an estimate on it, but a lot of people say hundreds of thousands. I know that one of the speakers actually said there was 4.1 million Google check-ins on the first Saturday here. Obviously, wow. Some people check in multiple times, but it gives you an idea of what's happening here. There's only a little over 1.1 million people here, and there's 4.1 million check-ins. So there is a lot, and they're from all across the country, from the west coast of BC to Newfoundland, up in Yellowknife, all over the place.
Yeah. Well, there's lots more happening now too. I mean, now with the border stuff, and there was a convoy in Kelowna at that area, Okanagan and stuff, and then down to, I think, Somas, whatever, there's all that stuff going on. So there's more, way more people getting engaged, I guess. And do you have, I know there's the big vote or something happening on Monday, which will hopefully bring us maybe some hope that this can end soon and that we can start going towards solutions and planning something. But what do you feel like the energy there? Do you feel like this is going to kind of end soon, or do you feel like it's going to get, because my fear is that if it doesn't, I'm hoping that people don't get tired, and we just got to keep such a positive, the peace thing has to be so strong. No one has, you know what I mean? It's scary.
Yeah, well, the energy seems to keep building every weekend. Each Saturday, the crowds increase. I hope that it keeps building. I mean, another thing I should call out here quickly is the number of Eastern European people And, there's also people from Pakistan I've talked to. I've interviewed a few on video, as well as I've talked to people from Argentina, but Eastern European people are here. And, they immigrated when they were young with their parents. They know what it was like growing up under communism and fascism. And that told us right there, because we've talked to dozens of these people. I have some interviewed on video. And they're here with their trucks. And they've seen this all before. They've seen what happens when a government overreaches too far and a society falls into tyranny and totalitarianism. So those people have stories from when they were young. And those types of people have told me themselves that they will stay here and lose, they have payments on their truck, their trailer, their house, their personal vehicle. One gentleman told me that he would stay here and he's willing to lose everything if he has to. He actually grew up in Hungary and immigrated to Canada. So lots of Russians too, people from Romania, places like that. They are the most dedicated, and they know because they've seen this pattern before, and they know what's coming. So those people, one of them said, actually, believe it or not, he said right on the news that he would get hauled out of here on a body bag, if he had to. So I don't think it's going to die off anytime soon with those type of people. I mean, some people that haven't seen that before may get tired and go, but we have a constant flow of people, new people coming in too. So they say they're staying until all mandates are lifted, and they're dedicated for sure.
Well, there's a lot here too, just dedicated as well, and it's this. We're all doing our own thing in our own way to what we can, and it's really. It's a crazy time in our world. And my thing is wanting to hear from actual people, because like people know you in our town and stuff. Right. And so it's hearing people's real experiences, and then doing our part of just like holding, sending out good vibrations because you just want it to stay, because anybody does something stupid, that goes mainstream. And then now you get a bad, it just feeds. Like mainstream's looking for that, right? Or exactly. I don't know if they are, but it seems that way.
Well, they're looking for anything. It's very one-sided. They're very careful who they pick to interview. It's very one-sided. So far, I mean, as far as we and everybody can tell, it's been great. It's been peaceful. Everybody's been friendly, and that maintaining that positive attitude and being peaceful is key.
Yes.
That's unbelievable. Like, that's the way to win this. We've seen the police presence actually drop off from probably 1,000. In the last couple of days, we see hardly any. So I don't know if they've had to go somewhere else, or if they just have realized that nothing's really going to happen here. It's really hard to tell, but that positive energy is great. Peaceful is number one, and peacefulness. And then, of course, carrying it out across the country is really important as well. Everybody's kind of got to, I see you guys have had a few.
Totally. Well, you've heard of the rallies or convoys in Smithers and stuff. And so we're definitely supporting you over there. And we're grateful that we have locals that have made the trek to Ottawa and representing a lot of us. So appreciate that. And pardon?
Yeah. We appreciate what everybody else is doing. You guys in Smithers and right across the country. We appreciate everything that everybody's doing. And, another thing, I got to give it to these truckers, because they're the ones that started the movement. We're here to support them, and it's just amazing what they've done here.
Yeah, totally. Have you met with the organizers? Have you seen the actual organizers?
Well, some of them, There's actually we're with the Northern BC group, so there's a number from Rupert right through to Prince George, Fort St. John, and I've met with some of them. There's one lady from Rupert that kind of organizes our group, and so I have met with some of them. In the last few days here.
Perfect. And so each of these groups all have their own contract, and they're following, they're holding each other accountable and all that stuff. Like there's you guys are pretty tight, those convoys.
Yeah, it seems to be quite tight. Quite well organized. There was a little bit of organization that kind of came along the way. They had to change some processes and communication processes just because there's so many people. But it's working out quite well, and the support is amazing. Like, we went out and helped the truckers out at a location about 7 kilometers out of downtown, and we threw a whole bunch of water for them inside a reefer trailer. They had reefer trailers full of food and water. They had huge tents, and they bring food into town. The support's amazing. Like, you can walk through town And every block there's a barbecue going by donation where tons of people are chipping in and handing out free food and water and drinks. And the support is just amazing.
It's so beautiful. Like I've just heard so many good things there, and it's like me and my family, like you all want to get there because just the energy from what we've experienced, like just you sharing right now, and then what we've seen as well. It seems like there's a lot of positive stuff. It's a good vibration. So
yes. Yeah, it's good vibes. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I do feel though, and that's, I think, where this balance is of the people that are, that live in Ottawa that are struggling with having so many people in their community. And so I also hold space and like sending love their way too, because I can just imagine if we had things in Smither, like in my backyard going on, and if I didn't agree with it, it would drive me nuts. But I think this is so much bigger, and it is a huge thing. It's not a fringe movement. I feel it's a much bigger movement that's happening here. So yeah.
It is for sure. And the biggest thing that's happening here, the most important thing that's happening, is we're starting to see division in government and unity among Canadians.
Yes.
It's unifying everybody. I mean, the three main political parties in Canada, I don't even know anybody that wants to vote for them anymore.
Yeah. It's so great to actually have discussion. Like they're actually talking about some of the big things we've been wanting them to talk about for the last few years, right? And it's like, finally, there's some division happening, some movement happening there. So yeah. But so do you have anything else that you would like to just share with the community, or anything that stands out?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I could get into a lot of things, but there's probably not. I could probably go on for hours. There's not a lot of time for that. But my phone might die from being cold one day here. But people really need to stop watching the mainstream news. It's so important. There's alternate news sources out there. Most of them are online. Some people thought these were a little extreme before, but Rebel, Bright Light News, Western Standard, they're all Canadian online sources.
Like True North and Liberty, are those?
Yeah, those ones. They seem to be following it fairly and accurately for the most part. I know a lot of people kind of thought they were extreme right, but there's a lot of people here from all over the world that believe that they're covering it accurately, fairly. Fox News, I know that they've been, not everybody has good things to say, but they've actually been covering it quite well as well. So the mainstream news has one agenda, and people really, it's so important. I can't say that enough, how it is, how important it is just to stop watching them all together. I mean, I've even been brainwashed by them watching them a little bit, even though I know better. So people have to know that.
Yeah, totally. And that's where, like I've been bouncing back and forth, and it's definitely confusing. And I just appreciate having this connection with you and with some others that I really feel safe with, because I don't know, I don't know the reporters on the other side. So anyways, I think there's kind of the big thing for me is being open, that there's two perspectives, like there's two sides to every story, and we've been hearing one side for a very long time. And so I think it's good that this is opening up.
For sure. The one other thing, you don't have to, this isn't too extreme, I don't think. You don't have to put this on there, but you can if you want to. One thing that a lot of the speakers here have said is if we want to get through this across the country, people have to stop complying.
Yeah.
If one or two try to do it on their own, it's not enough. Now, everybody has their own view on whether they should wear a mask or not. There's a lot of vaccinated people here that have had enough too. But, when we arrived at our hotel, there's security guards enforcing the mask rule. One guy got kicked out for not wearing one. Within a day, the whole place, hundreds of people in there, probably close to 1,000 in the hotel. Sorry.
That's okay.
It was 30 to 40% unmasked. Within a few days, it was 60 to 70% unmasked. And then it spread out to all the local businesses around here. They don't even ask anymore. If you go out of town a ways, it's kind of like being in a different world still. But a lot of the speakers here that have received legal aid and dug into that end of it say there is nothing that says that you have to wear a mask. So if we're going to get through this, everybody has to just stop wearing a mask. Just ignore it. Get together and stop. And what that does is it starts everybody into the whole method of getting through this. There's no reason. If people want to wear a mask, they can. If they're worried about it, they can isolate it, or they can wear a mask. We're not going to say anything. That's their choice. But basically, they called out this thing called United Non-Compliance. They keep bringing it up. They say it's very important, and everybody has to start doing their part. We're through the worst of it. This Omicron thing is basically just a cold. So carry on if you're healthy and follow that United Non-Compliance rule. Yeah.
No, I appreciate you sharing that big time, because that's been one of my things. And if you're okay with it, I will keep it in this clip, because I think it's just good to have, once again, another perspective, right? And that non-compliance with the mask, of whatever your choice is. If you feel like you need it, then for sure wear it. And but if you don't, because I know for myself, I'm wearing it for the sake of others for sure, because of their fears. But I just wear the cloth one, and that it goes right through, and maybe it catches my snot, but it's anyways, I don't know. There's science on all that. So it's so I appreciate that, because it is where out of place. And like you said, Omicron has gone through. So
everybody has their own views on that. I mean, there's a lot that the government said, but we've had doctors speak here that say that the masks do nothing and just stop wearing it. So
I mean, totally.
There's a lot of mixed information on that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping, like, through all this, is that the doctors can start to come together and debate as well. And so we can actually hear where people are, like, where these different viewpoints, these can maybe find the middle ground between that too, right? So
for sure. I think everybody's going to see a lot start to surface here in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of information that is going to surface that the government did not tell them, and the mainstream news did not tell them.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate talking with you, big time. And thanks for being there. And if there's anything, I'll put your blog with this as well, so people can know, like, check in that way as well. But please keep me informed, and if there's anything I can do to support or whatever, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure, I'll do that. Yeah, they can reference my blog. I've never been a blogger. I started that a few days ago. I'm not really a writer, but I had to do it just to try to get some information out there.
Yeah, well, it's great. I mean, you're sharing stories, and that's kind of why I just wanted to talk to you, is just you get to share your story, because I appreciate that you're interviewing others as well and getting their story with why they're there, like talking to all these different people. This is so good.
Yeah, for sure. I have lots of that if anybody ever wants to contact me about it.
Yeah, definitely. And on Facebook, you post lots of that too, right?
It's being censored so bad now that
right.
I won't get into that, but It's there. Some of it's there.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Well, send me, if you want to send pictures or anything too, just send it, and maybe I can put something together. So
okay, for sure, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Jason. You have a wonderful enjoy the sunshine. It looks nice there.
Yeah, you bet. It's cold but nice. I appreciate the interview.
Yeah, thank you.